Hello, everybody. I hope all of you can hear me well. Yeah, a small thumbs up will be handy. Okay, wait a sec. Lovely. Thank you so much. It's very nice to see so many of you. Yeah, we'll wait for a couple of minutes for some more to join. We have a lovely registration of nearly 400 people for today's webinar. I don't know how many will come live, but we have 400 people keen to join. And let's see. Close. Sorry. All my alarms are ringing. Just a second. Huh? Look. Just a second. Just a second. Just a second. Better. Okay. Does it want to stick to your clothes?
It does.
Good. So a big hello once again. Let's switch on the transcription so you guys can see the captions. Yeah. Like I said, we have got 300 and more people for this webinar.
Hello.
Sorry. And we like the enthusiasm. The enthusiasm shown by all of you wanting to know, learn about the work that Bhawisha and I do is very satisfying and encouraging. At the same time, it is nice to see many old friends of ours, yeah? People from different parts of the world whom we haven't met for a while. Yeah? We can see some friends from Romania. We can see some friends from Poland. We have some friends from Ireland, England, America, many from our country. We have some from Australia. I don't know if they are awake right now. It's a little too late for them. A few from Japan. Germany, of course.
Austria,
Switzerland.
Lots of
Indians. So that is very stimulating to see.
And Serbia.
Of course. I hope I didn't miss out any country.
Poland, yes. Monica from Poland.
So what excites Bhavisha and me is our clinical work. Believe me, that is what keeps us going. The way we are able to help people, treat cases. Of course, we forgot Hungary, Budapest. We have a big group from Hungary. How could I forget them? I think the last time we visited Hungary was many years back. So what excites Bhavisha and me are clinical results and our clinical experiences. And this is something that we have always shared in all our talks, that this is what keeps us going. And with every good result that we get with a challenging case, it tells us that how our system, our approach works. And often we curse ourselves as well, wondering, how things are working in the clinic if a patient is not doing well. It really troubles us more than maybe even our patient. And eventually when things work, yes, that tells us that the whole approach, the whole system that Bhavisha and I have worked on and shared with all of you is definitely something that's going to give far-reaching results and reproducible. And that motivates us to share our work with you, have webinars like these, and stimulate all of you. And it's very heartening to see colleagues from everywhere. Many of you have experience much more than our age. And yet there is willingness to learn from us, to hear us talk. That's extremely satisfying. So we will begin our today's talk, a free talk on columns, which is a complete brainchild of Bhavisha. Yeah, between Bhavisha and me, you know who is the more brilliant one. Yeah. Yeah. So,
I would say the more talkative one, not necessarily brilliant.
yeah. Before I give it to her, I'll tell you a very interesting story. Yeah. I have a patient, not had. She's very much with me. She's a bad case of anal fissures and hemorrhoids, who has been doing well with her remedy and with specifics and stuff like that. She's been doing well for many, many years. Few weeks back, she calls me to say that my complaints have flared up 100x. I hadn't seen her for 6 months and I don't know what happened. I said, were there any reasons for your complaints to flare up? No reason. Did you do something? Any stressors? And she said, just the routine stresses of my life. I said, anything else? I said, no, nothing. Can I take a specific remedy? I said, do you have the remedy from my clinic? She said, no. I've got a specific remedy. Should I take that? I said, okay, take that. She said, I've got Ratania. Can I take that? I said, try that. If you don't have anything from me, take that. Maybe yes. So I gave her one group of specifics. Didn't work. She was far away. Then she said, no, nothing's working. I'm having excruciating pain. Within how many hours should my pain go away? I said, I don't know. You take this second remedy I'm giving you. So believe me, in the past few days, she tried all specifics. I said, fine. I need you to go and see a surgeon. I don't know what exactly is the case. You are not letting me examine. I need you to get yourself examined to see what exactly are we dealing with. I made her go to a surgeon. The surgeon examines her and she comments that they have very severe fissure, extremely severe fissure with lot of internal piles, and she has to be operated immediately. And she said, okay, what should I do now? I said, good. So your surgeon told you it's not curable, it has to be operated. Now you want to come to me, I'll send a remedy across to you. Please take it and don't ask me how long will it take to get better. Just take it the way I've instructed to you. And she wrote me a message, should I take a painkiller, should I take Brufen, should I take this, should I take that? I did not give any reply. I said, let the remedy work. That was a remedy that she had done very well on. And believe me, I was very keen to see the remedy work. If my system and my approach works, it has to help in this acute situation. And that remedy was given after a lot of thought. I gave her the remedy today, Saturday. I gave her the remedy on Thursday. I asked her to send me a picture of the remedy when she gets. I said, take this packet, dissolve it in water, take it twice a day for 3 days and nothing else. I said, okay. I did not reply to any messages of this patient. And today she calls me up on the message. She says that for the first time in the last 3 weeks, I've got absolutely no pain. I had normal stools. No specific help. I gave her all specific. Believe me, Ratania, nitric acid, you name it, and we used it. Because she wasn't giving me symptoms. And she wasn't willing to take the remedy from the clinic for whatever reasons. She was traveling and stuff like that. I said, you have to take this remedy that I have prescribed. You will do well. And voila, we have results. So when symptoms get better, when the patient sees these results, and a patient which was to be operated maybe tomorrow or the day after, she is fine, that tells you the system works and we can help them, you guys can help them, and many people more across the world can help many more people. That is exactly what we are trying to share with you. So how do we go there and how do we prescribe? Before we go there, Bhavisha is going to do a lot of beautiful groundwork. That groundwork even I'm going to listen because I make a lot of mistakes. So let's see what does she have to say today and how do we understand these intricacies, because they play a beautiful role in helping our patients. Over to you. Oh, we are more than 100 people and I'm on YouTube. Let's see. Can you hear me? Yeah.
I'm glad. We're more than 100 people now. Usually people do subscribe and we have
Hello,
300 or 400 people, sometimes even 500. But on a live event, we hardly have 50 or 60. And of course, everybody who's registered watches later. So I'm very glad we're more than 100 and we are going live on YouTube. So any of your friends who can't get in, please tell them we are on YouTube as well. Okay, now let's start with what I wanted to talk today, which is the columns. I'm going to be doing a series of these kind of free lectures. Today I will give you an overview of the columns, breaking them into three major chunks. And then slowly probably we'll even try to do a case with every column going forward. And I find that columns is very, very important to understand, not just because we use them for the periodic table in the mineral kingdom, but we also use them for the plant and the animal kingdom. And what's interesting with the columns is that they are so universal. Whichever homeopath or whichever system you follow, or you want to follow your own, or you even do, the rubric method, whatever, it doesn't matter what style of analysis you want to, or what approach of analysis you want to take. It does not matter what kind of a case taking you are doing. But when you know the 18 columns or the 18 ways in which people approach life, you will simply be able to pin all your patients to any mineral, plant, or animal remedy. Yeah. Or even give a mineral counterpart for that moment if you don't understand which animal or which plant. Which is why I think that this basic grid is very important. So let's start with this. If we can just share the slides, some points I have written down because a visual always registers better and makes a better impact.
Just a second.
So we'll just share screen. Okay. Yeah, as a science student, this was even before I went into medicine. Yeah. So that is in India, we call it grade 11 and 12th. When you're working towards preparing for medicine, for the entrance exams, blah, blah, blah. So in chemistry, of course, before taking medicine, you have to take sciences in India and you have to take physics, chemistry, and bio and mathematics. That's compulsory. So we learned the periodic table before getting into medicine as a major subject or a major chunk of our chemistry was the learning of the periodic table. We had a whole textbook that was dedicated to the periodic table. And I remember as children or as young teens, we used to always joke in the class that if you know your rows and columns, you know the chemistry of life. Of course, at then, it was just a joke. Can you go next? I really didn't know that it's going to become reality of life once I go into the homeopathic world. Yeah. Why? Because when I went into the homeopathic world and we started to see remedies like, aurum and floric acid and natriumuriaticum and phosphorus, yeah, you have so many remedies. 60%, not 60, I would say about 30% of our remedies come from the mineral kingdom, the acids, the halogens, the salts, the metals, the non-metals, the alloys. Yeah. So the mineral kingdom really represents a very large portion of our materia medica. Now, for example, as students, yeah, if you know fluoride or the remedy fluor or floric acid, it is the most active and unstable element in our materia medica, in our chemistry. Yeah, it is the most active, unstable, and also therefore the most destructive element. And salts of these elements are also equally show this kind of destruction. Now, what you see with fluoric remedies or fluoric acid, yeah, you see this kind of syphilitic, unstable, poor assimilation, yeah, old age coming too soon, premature kids. So even as children or young, children is a very wrong word, but even as young homeopathy students, we could see how what we had learnt in chemistry exactly was reflected in the materia medica. Or for example, aurum. Can you go? If you bring it close, I can do it. So, for example, aurum is a noble metal. Yeah, this is what we already learned in our in chemistry. Yeah, and what you see is that aurum personality is also a very noble personality. You have aurum in materia medica with so much of leadership, guilt, a father figure. And what you see about aurum as a gold, yeah, it's one of the most noble metals. It cannot be tarnished, it cannot be affected by acids. It's a very heavy metal. So again, what you see in the source is what you also see in the homeopathic reflection. If you take another example, for example, argentum and palladium, yeah, argentum and palladium have the same connection in homeopathy as they are in our um, at the source level. They shine, yeah, they are precious metals, there's glistening, they are used for ornaments, for shine, for glamour. And what you see in argentum and palladium is people who like to be on stage, people who like to be in positions of limelight, yeah, people who like to uh, uh, perform and who like to always be in situations of performance, maybe exploring, yeah. And so you see this connection between the source and the homeopathic reflection at every level or at every row or in all the elements. Acids, for example, now we look at not just the elements, but if we look at, oh, okay, I have natrum here. Natrum or sodium, we learnt in chemistry, is a very, very clingy, unstable, lonesome alkali metal. Yeah, and that's exactly how you see natrum as a personality. Yeah, the natrum side in natrum mur, in natrum phos, in natrum carb is a very dependent, clingy personality. Just like the element which cannot stay, which is not stable on its own in the environment. So it must quickly make a salt. It must quickly combine and cling to another element. This is exactly what you see in a natrum personality. Acids. Acids are destructive, right? Very destructive in nature, and that's exactly what you see. You see acids as very good remedies for weakness, for a syphilitic stage, for an end stage, collapse. Yeah, so homeopaths were always seeing this kind of discrete connections. And then, I remember in my second year in homeopathy, I think it was 1995, I don't remember clearly, 1994, 95, when I came across Jan Scholtens. He had come to India for the first time. I'm talking of more than 30 years ago. Yeah. And he had come to India, not more than 30, but around that time. He'd come to India and he showed the periodic table to us for the first time. And maybe what was fascinating to me is that when he showed us the periodic table for the first time, What fascinated me is that the chemistry or the pattern that you see in the elements in nature is exactly the pattern that the remedies follow in materia medica. It was absolutely an eye opener for me that not just some groups and some elements that I already knew from my study of materia medica in my homeopathic school, from my learning of classical homeopathy. And here I now see that not just discrete elements, compounds, and groups, but the entire grid of the periodic table follows the same pattern that you see in chemistry. Um, I can tell you this because now when you look at the period, let's go to the picture of a periodic table first to understand. Yeah. Um, there's I also have a picture of the elements in their circular globular form. Let me go quickly and show you that first. Yeah. As you go from above down, the elements are actually getting bigger. And do you know that elements were never formed? Now, the reason I'm explaining you all this is once you understand, then the rows and columns become easier. We won't go into rows today, only columns. But this understanding gets easier instead of just going directly to the information. It's like a story, yeah? A story remains in our minds and our hearts much more than information. Okay, so the way I always learn is I never learn information. I go to the root, and once I've understood the root, I never forget it. Yeah, that's also the way I share. Now, so we come to this picture. It's the way the earth was made, the way matter came into existence was not by everything coming all at once, like there was aurum and there was plumbum and there was natrium and there was sodium and there was carbon. No, that's not how it happened. From energy came the first matter, which was hydrogen and helium. Yeah, and then as those elements or those gases started condensing, bringing more electrons, more protons, more neutrons, yeah, the periodic table slowly started to come into existence, or the earth, the planets, the stars. Before, of course, the earth and the planets were the stars, and the stars are just basically hydrogen and helium, only two elements, literally. I'm talking of the burning stars. Of course, then there are other elements also in the stars in the different stages of the stars, but we are not talking of astronomy right now. I'm going to make it simple. My point is that so from hydrogen and helium slowly start coming, or rather it starts as energy, quarks, baryons, all of that. Then come the electrons, proton, neutrons, hydrogen, helium, and then the elements of the level 2, the elements of level 3, yeah, and so on and so forth, meaning that the aurum line, yeah, is the heaviest line. And you can see, as you see these on the picture, as you see the sizes of these elements, you can very clearly see that it's all getting bigger and bigger and bigger as you go down the rows. There is also another pattern that I want you to just keep in mind for now. When we go for columns, I will explain you better. If you look at this pattern, then just see the elements on the left are also bigger in size, and on the right are actually smaller in size. Just keep this idea in mind, and then that will help you understand columns later. Okay, so above downwards, you see the size increasing. Left to right, that is sodium to chlorine, or kali, potassium to bromine, or for example cesium to iodine. Yeah, Like this. I'm sorry. Not cesium is the last one. I've made a mistake there. It's more rubidium. Yeah. Rubidium to iodine, cesium to astatine. Yeah? Here. This way, the sizes reduce. We'll come to the columns in 2 minutes. But just to understand, coming back to why is this important in the chemistry of life, in the periodic table, our ego, now I'm looking at as a human being, yeah, our ego increases from above down. Our physical body, our age, our mental age increases from above down. Yeah, not necessarily physical age, because once we are at the adult, we don't really increase, unless of course we increase in girth. Yeah, we are always thinking of putting on weight and losing weight and all of that, but we're not going into that at the moment. But the point is, so from conception, which is hydrogen and helium, yeah, we go to the lithium line, the lithium to the floor line, then the ego gets a little bigger, we come to the natrum. Can we go to the periodic table? Yeah, we go to the natrum line, which is about identity. Yeah, then we go to the Kali line, which is about an adult. Or maybe I would say sustaining or protecting that identity. Then we go to the palladium or the argentum line from rubidium to iodine, which is about exploring, going beyond. And then we go to the aurum line, which is about power. And then we go down to the actinide line, the radium line. I would rather call it not the actinide, because actinides are part of the radium line, lanthanides are part of the aurum line. Okay, but the sixth is the aurum line and the seventh is the radium line, and that is about despair and breaking down. So it's almost like a complete circle. I think I have a slide of a circle. Yep. Yeah, it's almost the rose. And that's exactly what we all want from life as well. I really like this image, the row tells us what we want out of life. And each one can want different things. Yeah. So what does the column tell us? If we go next. Okay. So now we come to the columns. The columns tell us how do we achieve what we want out of life. Yeah, can you make this bigger for me? It's yeah, I don't care about that. I don't care at all. Yeah, this is good. I need to know at the slides where we are and are you seeing the right thing. So I'm just adjusting that. So what you want is the row, yeah, what we also call as in our work the level of human development, yeah, or the level of development, yeah. How will you achieve it is the column, because in the periodic table that is exactly what is happening. In the periodic table, every element has what I would say is the same number of shells or the same size, in a way, not size, same number of shells of that row. So you have developed to the same level when you are in that row. But within that row, every element has a different way of achieving stability. Yeah. So what you want is the number of shells, or what you want is the level of development. As I just told you, what you want out of life, how you achieve it on a daily basis, how much you work to achieve it. Yeah. How much do we stand up for ourselves in our daily lives, in situations of confrontations, in a social gathering? Yeah, how much do we push or not push in times of obstacles or pressure from others or influence from others? Yeah, and where do we see ourselves in the journey to the goal? Where do we see ourselves in the journey to our goal? Yeah, all of these are the column. So these, just keep in mind, these are the questions that also that you can ask your patient, or you can look for in the case taking. The answer to these questions gives you the column of the patient. So when I do a case taking, my case taking becomes very simple. Before I go to that, let me tell you, to start with, this was good for the periodic table. That was somewhere in 1990. I need the AC stronger. That was somewhere in 1997 until about 2006. Yeah, those 10 years, I was very happy with the periodic table. And I was very happy with trying to see what my patient wants out of life and how does he achieve what he wants. I was happy with that. But come 2005, 2006, my eyes opened to a very, I would say, a very deep and a very revolutionary discovery for ourselves in the clinic. And that was that I realized that the rows and the columns are not just a grid for the periodic table, but animals could be put on that grid and plants could be put on that grid as well. And once I understood that, I realized that it's so important to understand the rows and columns, because if I know that, then I can bring a plant remedy into picture for my patient. I can prescribe an animal remedy or even a mineral remedy. Yeah. So the rows and columns then to me became levels of development and columns. The columns we still call them as columns, but the rows we call them as levels of development. So the what I would say is that case taking just became very easy. Yeah, it was so simple that you tried to find out through the story of the patient, through what the patient talks, through how he communicates, through his complaints. What does he or she want out of life, and how does he or she achieve it in life? And that's what it is for each one of us. Case taking like this is a very deep case taking. Yeah, it's a very profound, but it's also comprehensive. Yeah, and it's all inclusive, because ask yourselves, what is it that we all want when we get up in the morning to the end of the day? There is always a goal that we have in mind. Yeah, it could be a goal to travel, it could be a goal to rest, it could be a goal to complete the tasks of the day, it could be a goal to read something new, whatever it is. Yeah, but there is always a purpose. Let me put it like this, it has always a purpose. Yeah, and there is also always either a feeling that I want to achieve this purpose, so what do I do in a day, or a feeling I can't achieve this purpose, or a feeling I have almost reached there, or a feeling I need help to reach there, whatever, or how do I plan my day to reach there. And that's how it is about our journey as well in life. If we ask that question, what is it that I want out of life? That's my level of development. And how am I going to achieve it? That is the column. And that's how life is for all of us. And if we can, through homeopathy, get this combination, yeah, then we've solved the case. It's as simple as that. Okay, so this was just an initial bit that I did want to say. Do I want to probably, let me see if I want, so the goal is the row. I just want to make it clear, because you know what happens when people are doing case taking, they're always confused between what is the column and what is the row. This is a major confusion that happens. Even today, when we are in our seminars with people, when we are in supervisions, when we are in discussions, yeah, a lot of the time people mistake the column for the row or the row for the column. Always remember, the question that answers the row is what is it that I want out of life? Or what is it that my patient wants out of life? Okay, and if you can go to the next. These are the different things, yeah, but I already went through this. Like if I want basic things, rest, an independent spot, then I'm row 2. If I want identity, row 3. I'm going to go through this quickly. If I want to work towards a routine, that's row 4. If I want to push more, that's more row 5. And if I want to conquer either my own self or others around, that's more row 6. Yeah. So that's fine. How far I reach. Now these things, this is what you will see in your patient. How does the patient achieve it? How far does he reach? When does he give up? How much does he put in his social connect with either others around in the journey? Yeah, all of this is the column. So I would also give one more tip, and that is column is seen in everyday behavior. Row is more a long-term goal. But your everyday behavior of a patient will give you the column that the patient belongs to. Always remember that. So these are little tips, yeah, clinical tips. Your long-term lifetime goal is your row or your level of development, and the column is everyday behavior. Yeah? Okay. So we did this. Now, as I already told you, plants, mineral, animals all follow the same thing. Even the chakras that I have always mentioned are really exactly as the 7 rows of the periodic table. So it's absolutely amazing how this grid is a more universal grid. Now let's go to columns in specific. So if we go to that periodic table again, can we go to the periodic table? Yeah, you can state this in, okay. It's very easy. There are 18 columns. What I have done is I have divided it, because today we are going to do a rough thing, into the first 6 columns. So that would be from columns 1 to 6. Then the middle 6 columns, that is up to 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, it is 6. I just wanted to be sure that my math was right. 7 to 12, this is the middle 6. 1/3 basically, 18. And then 13 unto 18 is the last 6. Now the 18th one behaves very differently. So we will not talk about the 18th column. In fact, I have some beautiful cases. Sachandra and me both. Recently we did a beautiful cancer case who is doing brilliantly with the noble gases. So we will one day cover noble gases by themselves, which is column 18. So I would say that the last third, that is more from 13 unto 17, which means it has only 5 columns. Yeah. So 1 to 6 is the first 1/3. Then you have the middle one, which is the 7 to the 12. And then you have 13 until 17. 18, as I said, we will do it differently. Now, now can we show them the mountain for a minute, and then we'll keep coming back to the elements, because I need to also come back to elements. Yeah? It's almost like a mountain. So the first 6 are starting their journey. The middle is more at a position of kind of a safe position, yeah. And then the last 5 is a more falling down position, and you can approximately look at it like a mountain, okay. And therefore also imagine it like this, that when you are beginning any journey, when you're beginning climbing a mountain, then in the beginning you are a bit overwhelmed. You haven't started the journey. You do not know how difficult it will be. You probably are preparing, you take help from people around, you ask for guidance, you start asking everybody else if they have a map, you follow some people who've already done the journey earlier. You see that? So the first 6 are a little bit like that. People who are in the first 6 columns of the periodic table often feel like they are beginners. Have written down the points clearly so that you have it very clearly in your mind. So the first 6 are people who look at life as if they are beginners, yeah, as if they are trying to reach, yeah, they are looking for help, they are not so sure, they are weighing their pros and cons, so they can appear doubtful, they can appear a little less strong about their opinions, yeah. Some of them may not even express it out, right? So I'm just giving you a fair idea to begin with, okay, and a rough idea, and then we will go individually also, don't worry. So this is the kind of feeling that you get from people who belong to columns from 1 to 6. And obviously now again, as you're looking at the mountain, when it's 1, then this insecurity or indecisiveness is very much stronger, yeah. But when it's 6, it's a little bit better. So going from 1 to 6, also within that group of 6, you will find that the strength is slowly increasing, okay. Now we come to the middle section, which is, look at this one, 7 to 13, 7 to 12, yeah, more this, okay. You see, this is a point when you have done the initial bit of the journey, you've seen a little bit, you've seen the stones going up the mountain, you've managed to go till so far, maybe with help, maybe with people around, maybe with a little bit of guidance, whatever. So you are always at a position. So columns 7 to 12, or people belonging to columns 7 or 7 to 12, have a sense of achievement. They have a sense of confidence. They have a sense, a know-how, and a feeling that they can manage to achieve their goal. Okay, they may talk to people around, but they can take their own decisions. They can be strong, and they can also be a little more opinionated, and sometimes even holding on to their point. So in a social connect, I would say that, or in a social setting, not connect, in a social setting, people who are in columns 1 to 6 look more unsure, though they may be chatty superficially. When it comes to giving their opinion, they shy away. They are always looking for others' approval, right? And they're looking a bit childish or a bit not too sure of their capacity. While when you see people from column 7 to 12 in a social setting, they are more stronger. They may be quiet or not quiet depending on the remedy, yeah. But when it comes to giving their opinion, then they know what they want, they're a bit more confident, they can stand their ground, they are more resilient in face of obstacles. Yeah. So this and they are more successful in that sense. Yeah. And then, or they perceive that they can succeed. They perceive that they are at a position of strength, safety, comfort, and at a position where they will be able to get what they want, or they will be able to deliver what is expected out of them. And then you see the lower half. Now you see this here on the mountain, 13 to 17. This is going down. Yeah. So going down the mountain, you look at it almost like it's slipping down. Yeah. So the feeling that people from and this is the toughest. Let me also say it like this, that the first six columns, or that first one third, is easy to pick. The middle one third is really the easiest, because you can see that confidence and you can see that strength. But it's this last six which sometimes becomes a little tricky to find out. And or I would say these are the right hand side of the periodic table. Like if you look at the periodic table, the left hand side are the first six columns, then you have the middle, and the right hand side are the last five, and then of course we have the 18th. These are the non-metals. Yeah. So look at this again. Now, do you remember that I showed you that picture where the size of the atom is getting smaller? Yeah. If we just very quickly go back to that picture, that was the last one. Look at this. Even though it is, so now just going back to a little bit of chemistry to understand the last six, or the right hand side of the periodic table. For completion, just to give you a simple idea, for completion, you need, you need the last orbit, whatever it is, yeah, needs 8 electrons. That's the logic of stability. I'm going with the very basics. I'm not going into, it's much more complex, but to make it very simple, because I want to just bring it out homeopathically. The last orbit must have, or the last shell must have 8 electrons. And you know what? When you start with, on the left hand side, the atoms have only 1 electron. So you see how incomplete they feel. Then it goes to 2, 3, and then by 4, which is the center, the 7 to 12, yeah, by 4 to 4, you start feeling that you are midway. So the stability is the maximum, and that is why they are in the middle, much more stable. But by the right hand side, though you are closer to the number 8, in the right hand side, you have 5 electrons, 6, 7. So you are so close to the number 8, and yet, you know what is happening? The instability of that atom is actually increasing again. So on the left hand side, they are unstable because they are just beginning. In the middle, they are far more stable. And on the right hand side, though they are closer to the completion number 8, the funny bit in chemistry or in life or in this universe is that they are actually getting smaller in size. That's because the attraction pulls the electrons closer. Here the attraction is very poor. I'm not going into all of that. You just have to remember for homeopathic purposes that the atoms are getting smaller, despite the fact that actually the number of electrons and the number of electrons needed to completion, which is 8, so the number is more. So they are more 5, 6, like phosphorus has 5, sulfur has 6, chlorine has 7. So you need only 3, 2 or 1 more electron to complete and become to the number 8. Yeah, yet your atom size is smaller and the instability is again setting in and much stronger. So when you have too much to achieve, as well as you have the last bits, the instability is strong. Remember that in the periodic table, the left and the right columns are very unstable. The center is stable. This is from the chemistry point of view. From the homeopathy point of view, therefore, on the left hand side, it's a feeling you haven't started. It's a feeling, oh my God, you have to start. It's a feeling you're just a beginner. It's a feeling you need help, you need support, you're indecisive, you're just beginning, you may not be able to withstand pressures of the world. In the middle, you feel strong, you feel stable, you feel resilient, perseverant, capable. And on the right hand side, you feel, oh my God, I could have almost done it. I was stable some time back. Why am I getting unstable again? Am I leading to failure? Am I slipping down? Am I losing control? Am I failing? Am I losing my grip? Will I be ever able to achieve stability, or will I go back to instability? You see that? So that happens on the right hand side of the column. Column 18 is complete 8 electrons in their shell. So we will not talk about it today. Okay?
Yeah, the theme.
So this was just to give you a basic idea. Now, I want to tell you one more thing. If you look at the right hand side of the periodic table, now we go back to the elements. Yeah, just go back to your materia medica and you'll understand this even better. Yeah, look at this: arsenicum, selenium, bromium. Now what do we know about arsenicum? Yeah, they're always worried about infectious diseases. They're always fastidious, want to keep everything clean. They're also always suspicious. Yeah, so it's a feeling of a person who maybe looks strong from the outside and keeps doing and keeps everything clean, but within is failing. Yeah, that's also the arsenic as a poison. Yeah,
Yes, you
no
also see
wonder arsenicum was one of the main remedies that we used, Sachandra and me, of course, but I think a lot of people all over the world, for COVID. Yeah, it was one of the very well prescribed, and we have such great results with arsenicum. Of course, we had bryonia, we had antimony, we had phosphorus, we had all the elements on the right hand side of the periodic table, because the feeling in COVID was we are being attacked, we are failing, there is no, the resources are dwindling away, there's no, what is that? There's no food, there's no tissue paper in the malls and in the shops. You saw kind of crazy videos, people hoarding because it was an attack to death, and it was almost like an alien invasion. It was a very silly way of looking at COVID. I'm not going to talk about that, but whatever it was, it was. And therefore, no wonder people did very well on remedies more to the right hand side of the periodic table. Bryonia is another plant more to the right hand side of the periodic table, almost in column 15. Yeah, and that was another remedy that we used in very high fevers in strong COVID cases. Then antimony. Now look at this antimony. Where is antimony? Here. SB. This is antimony. Okay. Then we also know stannum is this weak chest. Selenium, we know, is this guy who really, from Materia Medica, yeah? I'm just trying to show you how the right hand side behaves. Selenium, the guy who can't remember anything, the guy who's, forgetting his business, all kinds of things. Bismuth, again, very syphilitic. Losing. Mercury, see, we are going from 12 down, no? It's a downslide. Mercury, a very destructive element, right? So at bromium and iodine and fluorine, so the halogens we know in Materia Medica, look at this column 17, fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine. Yeah, astatine actually cannot even exist as a pure free metal because it's so unstable. Okay, so only in the labs and only theoretically. Otherwise, it's always in a salt and it's not so much high in quantity in nature. But coming to these four halogens, yeah, when you look at the symptoms in Materia Medica, it's very syphilitic. It's always this rush. It's always losing weight despite eating. It's always a frenzy and a restlessness. Yeah, and this premature aging that we know in floricum, right? So it's this feeling on the right hand side that whatever you do, however much you try, you are not going to be able to succeed, or that you could have succeeded or you may have succeeded in the past, but now it's all going down the drain. So on the right hand side, so if you have people needing the right side of the column, that is from 13 unto 17, what you often see is that they are very restless. Yeah, so we talked about the left and the center. Let's talk about the symptoms on the right hand side of the columns. People to the right hand side are very restless and fidgety. Yeah, they are often talking of failure. Failure doesn't come in the left side of the periodic table and in the center as much as it comes in the right hand side. They often feel like whatever they do is not going to succeed, or they've tried a lot but they have not managed to succeed. They could be very suspicious of things happening around them. Yeah, they could feel that people around them are cheating. That is why we've put the snakes a lot with the right hand side, especially the viperids with the right hand side of the periodic table. They also have a feeling that sometimes they need to be manipulative. Yeah, they need to be a little street smart. They need to use tactics because they can't get it the right way. Yeah, they need to be rigid and hold on to old values and old rules, because if they don't, then everything is going to slip out of their hands. So it's almost a feeling like, in achieving their goal, they've kind of lost the grip of it. They've lost control. Yeah, they've missed the boat. This is also feeling, for example, in cadmium, in zinc, paralysis. You also see either there is, weakness and paralysis that you see in zinc, you see in plumbum, you see in bismuth, or there is this kind of convulsions like cuprum, no? But it's still, cuprum and zinc are still 11 and 12. So cuprum is 11 is this holding on tightly, but more paralysis is from 13 onwards. Yeah, stannum, weakness. Yeah, so stannum, plumbum, bismuth, antimony. So you see this kind of a feeling towards life. Now, I want to give you a very interesting little experience I want to share with you that we had. I think we were in Goa in this restaurant called Lee Bai. Yeah, this was I think this was 23 years ago. This was in 2002, I think. 2002, we were in Goa. Those were the days we used to do what was called as, wasn't called Sun, Sand and Sensation, but that was the very famous Goa seminars, for those of you who know it. And so It was Sachindra, me, and Dr. Rajan Sankaran and Dr. Reena Markowitz, a very dear friend from Israel. So all four of us were having dinner at this restaurant, Levi, in the Taj Exotica in Goa. And I remember the waiter came to us and he said, would you like to know the story of Levi? So we said, yes, of course. What is the story? And he said, Li Bai was the name of a very famous poet in China. Yeah, he was a Chinese. He was a Chinese poet. I don't know if the story is true, but it was very interesting for us to hear. So he said he was a very famous poet who did not get fame when he was alive. And one day, sitting in the moonlight by the lake, yeah, he was writing his poems, and he had his old poems in his, probably stacked in papers next to him. And then I think the wind blew or something like this, and all his papers, and nobody had liked his poems. And for a poet who was so good, he had no validation, no appreciation. And then in moonlight, as he was writing, the papers slipped and they all fell into the pond or the lake or whatever that water body was. And then he committed suicide by drowning. He went to collect those papers and he drowned into the pond. And it was only after that that Levi got famous. And all of us, we turned around and looked at each other and we said, antimony crude. Yeah. Now, when you look at the picture of antimony crude in Materia Medica, it's about aggravation from moonlight, people who write verses in moonlight, a poet who is, disappointed. There is also fear of drowning in antimony crude. And of course, gastric symptoms and all of that. But just this bit, writing verses in moonlight is a hallmark feature of antimony crude. And then the fear of drowning, and then this poet who is kind of and suicidal, yeah, and this poet who is kind of losing. Now, when you look at antimony crude here with column 15 under arsenicum and phosphorus, yeah, that's antimony. Remember, I told you this is the third right hand side of the periodic table, or the third group. And you can see the downfall in the column 15. You can see, now what's interesting is you can see the level as well. What was he? He was a poet. Yeah. And what is that? Level 5. It's the level of palladium, rhodium, yeah, zirconium. Most of your American diamonds are nothing but zirconium. Yeah, so all these fake jewelry is zirconium. Then rhodium, when you plate gold into white metal, you don't do it with platinum, obviously. The white plating on gold is a rhodium polish. Yeah. Palladium, argentum, we know, right? So you see, what was interesting is that the story of Levi brought us all to antimony crude. I wish we could have given him antimony crude. But it was just, it's a thing that has stuck with me for ages. And to explain the right hand side of the periodic table, we always use this example or this little lovely story. Now, there's another thing I want to tell you about. For example, the remedies bromium and iodine. Would you say that the right hand side are always people who are unsuccessful? No. Now, I'll give you an example of two cases. One is a case of iodine, who is doing brilliantly for the past 7 years, 8 years now. And one is a case of Kali bromatum, where bromium, I'm going to talk about the right hand side. And both these women had, they have different issues. And one had just the beginning of what vitiligo, that was the Kali bromatum woman, and one had she had heart complaints, thyroid disorders, thyroiditis, yeah, fibrillation, anxiety. This was more the iodine. Now, these are the physical complaints. As women, they were both very successful, looking after the family, very strong in every way. What was their perception of reaching the goal? This brought me to column 17. Yeah, the perception of the Kali Brom woman was that she had a husband who was addicted. Yeah, he was an addict. Addicted is the wrong word. He was an addict who had been into rehab, blah 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 blah, and so that was a difficult journey. And then she had two sons, and both of them had a serious illness, yeah, like a congenital one. So she said, her life was, she wanted a simple life, yeah. She wanted just a family, a house, money, all of this, a very routine level 4 life. But she always felt that whatever she does, however much she tries to bring balance in the family, she's never successful. And she's always on her toes like a tubercular miasm person. Yeah. She's just like, I am 24/7 trying to run and achieve things and manage the house, because my feeling is my whole family is constantly falling apart with all these physical complaints. Now, the family also has very syphilitic complaints. If you look at it, a syphilitic miasm. Yeah, the husband was an addict, the children have congenital issues. So the way she looks at the situation and she says, I have no hope. So she is, as a person, doing a lot for the family. You understand? Holding this family together, doing her best. And she said, every day I feel so guilty. I must have done something in my past. Now, if you know, Kali bromatum has this rubric or the symptom even, yeah, that the brother falls off the terrace and she doesn't help them. Yeah, she's not able to help the brother who is falling off into a pond or falling off a cliff, something like this. So it's, and also, sinned away their day of grace, like they have and committed unpardonable sins. So this is that right hand side feeling. Now, though she was very successful and hard working and all of that, her perception is she's fighting a losing battle. Are you with me? Similarly, with the iodine woman, what she told me is, if I am not constantly on the go, if I am not doing a million things, and if I stop, then it will be catastrophe. Yeah, the family is going to fall apart. I do a lot of new and different things. There's going to be chaos in that sense, and I'm going to be a failure, blah, 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 which she was not. She was a very successful woman. But in her perception towards the goal is exploring boundaries and going beyond boundaries. But what is she perceiving? Her column in the journey is, if I stop at any moment, I'm going to fail. It's going to be a disaster. Everything is going to come crumbling down. So I wanted to specifically mention you this so that you understand that the right hand side is not necessarily people who fail. It could be people who appear strong. For example, phosphorus. Yeah, phosphorus can look very friendly. Yeah, phosphorus are friendly people, but phosphorus also has this feeling that if I don't express, or if I'm not allowed to express, yeah, or if I don't make friends, I'm going to be alone. So the fear is in the background, okay, or it's in the perception and may only come on doing a deep case taking or understanding the different aspects of their life and their story. Whereas in the central columns, okay, which is, from here, manganese or technetium or rhenium, ferrum, ruthenium, osmium, cobaltum, rhodium, iridium. I'm talking of this center. Yeah? No, wait, let me just show it to them. Here, from this side, manganese, ferrum, cobaltum, nicrum, niccolum, cuprum, zincum. This whole grey patch. Yeah? Rhodium, palladium, argentum, aurum, platina, osmium, mercury, cadmium. This one. In the center, when you talk to people who need the remedies from the central columns, then often, though they have their pathologies, you ask them how they've been in their life, what is the story of their life, then they are, um, they feel very confident, yeah. They know they can stand up for themselves, they can achieve things on a daily basis, they feel like they can manage very well, yeah. If there are difficulties, they can stand up against difficulties, they know they are at a very comfortable position in life, yeah. They know that nobody else can what would I say, shake them up, yeah, or deter them from what they want to do, yeah. So they feel quite, in that sense, stable and grounded. And people on the left hand side of the column often, will feel they cannot start on their own. There are people who always look for guidance, yeah, look for validation. Now, in that, the first and the second column are much stronger. That is sodium, magnesium, potassium, calcium, yeah, strontium, barium, that's baryta, yeah. The first and the second are extremely clingy and dependent. They are the ones who will not make their decision. They are the ones who will, on a daily basis, they will want to ask people for opinions. They will not take their own decision. They will want to always work under the guidance of someone, yeah. When they are in a social setting. Now, some of the birds, for example, yeah, we know this about sodium, magnesium, kali, calcium. We know this, that they are scared, they are anxious, yeah. Strontium needs guidance always. But now let me talk about some birds. For example, the songbirds from the finch family, yeah, these small little finches, yeah, the rose finch, chaffinch, canary, yeah, various little finches are in the first two columns. And often the songbirds are very chatty, very bubbly kind of individuals. Um, but at the same time, when so you will say, but these are people, you said that they don't talk, they are quiet. But the birds in columns 1 and 2 can be very chatty and expressive, very communicative, love people, or maybe they are constantly in people's company and may not talk as much, or if they talk, it's only about superficial things. But if they have to specifically mention or stand up against somebody else's opinion during a conversation, let's say everybody puts up a point in a group and says, they want to do a thing a certain way, or they feel something about a certain issue, it is the songbirds of the finch family who will not put their foot down. Though they can be chatty on superficial issues, the people of column 1 and 2 will not give their real opinion. Or in those moments, they will either be silent or they will go with the opinion of the stronger people in the group. Yeah. With 3 and 4, the feeling they give is not so much clingy, but much more indecisive and irresolute. So the feeling that 3 and 4 column individuals give is that even if they start something, they are unsure, they do not know what decision to take, which thing to start. They make plans, but they falter in their plans. They give up their plans easily. If there's a certain obstacle, they'll immediately give up that whatever it was that they were pursuing. Yeah, so that is more the way 3 and 4 behave, whereas 5 and 6 in the first half, in the first one third, 5 and 6. So I would say how 5 and 6 differ. 5 and 6, no, 5 will make a lot of verbal and theoretical plans, but will hesitate to put it into action. Okay, so they play a lot of mental games. The column 5 individuals like niobium, vanadium, tantalum, yeah, they're very cerebral people. Let's put it like that. 5. 6. So when you have cerebral people, think of column 5. 6. Column 6 people are very impulsive. Column 1 is also impulsive. Column 6 is also impulsive. Column 9 can also be impulsive in a certain way, and I'll differentiate it all, don't worry. And column 17 can also be impulsive. So 1, 5, 1, 6, 9 and 17. What is the difference? 1 is impulsive because they don't know anything. You know, they just get excited. Somebody is doing something, they want to follow, they jump in, they have no clue. Okay, that's this complete childlike impulsiveness. Column 6 is impulsive in the sense that here they are not indecisive like 3 and 4. They are not looking for guidance like 1 and 2, but they have this feeling, oh, I can do it. Wait a minute, I can do this, you know, and that's that impulse. So they may not do it very perfectly, but they will make that jump. Yeah, that is column 6. So they're very, in that sense, you know, there is that inner enthusiasm. So 6 can also look very enthusiastic. 9 is impulsive because when you look at the, so 9 is this, cobaltum, rhodium, iridium. You see this? Yes, either on the mountain or on this. Yeah, this one, cobaltum, rhodium. You know, 9 is, they make a mistake by an impulse. It's like you so want everything to be perfect. Now look at the mountain. See, 9 is here. You see, one mistake and you can fall down the mountain when you have worked so hard. See that? So 9 is that thing that, oh, I shouldn't make a mistake. You know, it's okay. I wouldn't say impulse. I would say it's a impetus, or it can be an impulse. It's like you are so tight, you don't want to make the mistake, and you may just make it. You're holding on that you don't want to make the mistake, and you may just make it. Okay, that's the impulsiveness you see in 9. And in 17,
I think is the urge that you have when you're sitting in an aircraft by the exit row and it says do not open, you know, you have to really work hard to not impulsively open out and walk through the aisle.
or when you're on a cliff, you know, the feeling that you may just jump.
I remember our son when he was about 8 years old, I don't know, 4 5 years old, and he was playing with a coin in his mouth, and we said, "Please be careful, you might just eat it." And that's exactly when he ate that coin. So that is column 9, when you are anticipating and you just do it.
What you're not supposed
Just
to
to
do,
do.
you do it. Yeah, that's more column 9, that I better not do it, and then they do it. And then is the impulsiveness in 17 is because of the fear of tremendous failure and chaos. So that, you know, mistake that you do, uh, because you are so close to failure in your perception, or you can, one mistake and the whole thing can completely, you know, your whole what do you say, tower of cards will all come down and everything will be completely destroyed, right? That is more the impulsiveness, or that thing that you see in column 17. So this was just to give you a certain glimpse I told you up to six. Very quickly, I'll tell you some important ones because then we will do each one individually. Yeah? Sorry. Oh yeah, before I go further ahead, I think Sachin, I just want to show you. Most of you have these books, yeah. The quick book has all the columns in detail. Okay, it has, of course, it has the animals as well. But the first half of the quick book is all the columns in detail. And say this bit of the quick book is what I like the most. This is, each column I've given the perception of the individual in that column, the impression that they give to the world, the successful side of the individual of that column, and the failed side or the unsuccessful side. So each column in 4 different parts. The quick book has it. I think the birds also has the columns very strong, very much in detail, especially encompassing the animal qualities in the different columns.
And I think this book is extremely important for the ones you already have it and you don't have. This was the first book that Bhawisha wrote. This is a 20-year-old book where we put down these concepts that we spoke about, and they somewhere lay a very strong foundation in understanding the way these elements behave in nature, behaved in homeopathy, they behave in the system. You see the depth of the approach there, and that will help you all to make a successful prescription in your practice. That's the most important thing. This book has been translated in maybe 5 languages.
Yeah, the homeopathy and patterns and periodic table, you don't have to buy it only in English. Yeah, the book has been translated into Japanese, Russian, German, of course, Italian. Not Italian, sorry, then something else. Quick book is translated into Italian. I think some of you are asking, if you go to our website, all the books are available. Also, not in different languages. Those are with the individual publishers of those companies. But if you ask us by email or through the website, we will answer you and let you know where are these books available.
And Bhavisha and I created this particular website for all our colleagues to use, not just to sell things and promote ourselves. It's where you can of course see the books. We have loaded a lot of free lectures, and some of you have watched them. You can just go there and go to the free lectures and just watch any of our lectures that we have done over the past maybe many years. We keep loading lectures there because we want the whole community to grow and make successful prescriptions. So please do that. And we have as well created an online map where you can use Bhavish and my way of prescribing. Where you log in, you just create a login and use a map online.
So you can put in the numbers, find out the different animals that come out from different numbers. It's a very fascinating.
And at the moment it is free for everybody to use for the next 2 months, because we want people to use and experiment. Let's see how it works in your cases. Look at your old cases, think about a remedy that you gave, read through a number system, look at the possible remedy that comes up, and you might see so many similarities, because what Bhavisha and I have been sharing is a universal reality.
A universal truth, I would say, simple universal truth. And one thing, for those who are new today, of course a lot of you are dear friends,
absolutely,
colleagues, people who have built this with us together over the last 30 years. So some of you here are people who've really know us so well and know the system and are practicing and even teaching the system. But for those who are new, just to let you know that this is not something which has come out of the blue. It's a process of 30 years of our work with homeopathy, and clinically verified and tested and time tested. So, and there's a lot of free work there on our website. You can always access it.
And what excites me personally the most is that our work helps you to make independent, successful practices and not adds you guys to one of our followers. No, it makes you good homeopaths, it makes you successful prescribers, because we help you understand the concepts and you can use them.
Maybe you can just write which is our
I will write
website.
down, I'll type
And
down.
for those of you who have any doubts, just email us. Yeah, just give the email ID as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
So if you can't find the website, if you can't connect through the website or whatever,
Sorry.
if you email us, we will be able to help you. So the email.
And right now, the video is being recorded. Our seminar is broadcasted live on YouTube too. So you can go to our YouTube channel and watch it anytime. We don't have any passwords. Just watch it and have access to all of it. Yeah.
Right. Vaishali, I will not talk about base level here because today we had just 1 hour on columns. And for people who have come here, they've come here for columns. And for those who don't know anything about our base level and predominant and all that, it will be just very confusing. It's a good question. There are free videos on the base level and predominant level, everything, as well as send us a private email and we'll try to help you out. Okay.
Maybe among the next series of webinars that we'll do the free ones, we will teach about them as well. So don't worry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But definitely, you can go visit the free website as well. Now, just put the
Wait a minute. Yeah.
website when you can.
I did.
Okay. I will just quickly, before winding up, because I told you I wanted to just give you an overview. Yeah. I just want to tell you one more, couple more things is that, there is also a certain kind of a pattern in the periodic table where the odd numbers have a more feminine quality and the even numbers have a little masculine quality. For example, the rows 1, 3, 5 and 7 are more feminine and 2, 4 and 6 are more masculine. What do I mean? 1 is about conception, 3 is about identity. So again, it's about, so 1 is creation, 3 is creation of identity, 5 is this creativity where the identity explores what is more, and 7 is about disintegration. 2, 4 and 6. 2 is about the fetus once the conception is done, so there is building happening. 4 is about security, 4 is about the adult stage. So again, there is a building happening to the identity of 3. And 6 is about institutionalization. It is about power. It is about organization. So 6 is giving structure to 4, to 5. You see that? So 1, 3, 5 are more feminine, more about creation and creativity. And 2, 4 and 6 are more about establishing structure and stability. Again, in the columns, you see that the odd columns are a little more indecisive, a little more into, the next step, creating. And the even columns are stabilizing what was in the previous column. So you will always see that kind of an odd even pattern. Okay, so I think this was just a general idea that I did want to give you about the columns, and what I would like is your feedback,
Yes,
about
of course.
what you enjoyed, what is it that you would want to learn more. Okay, we do have an idea that we will do individual columns and a case of an individual column to explain all the 18 columns in detail. So that's one idea, but more ideas from you are most welcome.
Absolutely.
Great.
And you can connect with us on any of the forums. Yeah. You can visit our website that I have just shared here. You can use this to learn from our free webinars, online seminars, and these are different 4 steps, yeah, to get clearer with the way we use our work. And of course, there are books, and all our books are pretty linear. So if you read the first book and then you go graduate to the bird book, you'll understand the whole process of how the thinking evolved, and you are in tune with, okay, this is how the whole map developed and this is what we are doing. So your prescriptions become much more surer and clearer. I think that's very helpful when you want to base your prescription on certain concepts and views.
Great.
Great.
So it was a great Saturday evening session, and I would say thank you to all of you and congratulations, because to spend your Saturday evening 1.5 hour to learn something more, to gain more knowledge, I think that itself shows
The enthusiasm.
the enthusiasm, the desire, and the resilience and perseverance. So wish you all the best, all of you. Lovely to see you, old and new, all friends.
So do well, take care, make lovely prescriptions, and do share your views, your thoughts, your opinion. Yeah, and we will do more events like these to keep the entire homeopathic community growing and confident and successful. That's very important.
Bye bye, everyone. I see so many faces and so many friends. Really lovely, lovely to get all this love from all of you.
Bye bye.
Thank you so much. It was wonderful. Thank you. Bye bye.
Hasnat, are you saying something? You are on mute.
I was just
I'll
saying
take a
thank you
picture
so much.
of everybody.
I
And this is
can't
my
hear.
granddaughter, but she's so
Hasn't
shy
Kirani.
right now.
Now I can hear you.
Yeah, I was just saying thank you. It was lovely. Thank you so much. Always a pleasure to see both of you together.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's been a
bye bye.
pleasure for us to see everyone, so many new and old friends. I just can't say all the names because otherwise it'll go endlessly, but just we can see all of you, and absolutely lovely to see all of you.
Yes.
Oh,
Take
okay.
care.
Thank you. Have a lovely evening. Bye bye.
All of you. Bye.
Bye
Bye. Bye.
bye.
Bye, Antonella. Bye, Joanne. Bye, Lorna.
Yeah.
Bye, Sally. Bye, Anna. Bye, everybody. Take care. Bye, friends. Everybody, take care. Please do well. Stay happy and keep growing.
Montserrat, I can
Bye,
see her.
Montserrat.
Okay.
All right.